The Brooklyn Nets and the LA Lakers look to be loading up in what could be a potential finals matchup. What is going on, y'all? Faiz Sports Talk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NBA. So if you're a fan of the NBA, make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you have not done so already, please hit the bell icon so you're notified every time I drop a new video. And guys, make sure to follow me on all my social media platforms. Let's get into it. All right, so big news in the NBA over the last couple of days. Lamarcus Aldridge signed with the Brooklyn Nets, and now we have word that Andre Drummond has signed with the Los Angeles Lakers. So I wanted to come on and talk about this, folks, because social media isn't a hoopla right now. Like, everybody's going crazy. Oh, my goodness. The Nets need to form the Avengers to beat a 36-year-old LeBron James in year 18. And then, of course, the Lakers go ahead and get Andre Drummond, and then the joke goes back. It's like, oh, you need that much to beat Kevin Durant, etc. You get my point. Essentially, let's talk about the impact here and how I feel like both these teams stand now with these two additions. All right, let's start with the Brooklyn Nets first and foremost. Lamarcus Aldridge at this stage in his career is washed. Is he absolutely garbage? No. Okay, he can still give you quality 10 to 15 minutes, but this is not the all-star Lamarcus Aldridge, not even close. Okay, if you watched him this year, you would know. All right, he's just a name brand at this point. And the guys that the Brooklyn Nets have on the roster, like guys like Nicholas Claxton and the other young players, they're actually better right now than both LMA and Blake, mind you. But again, playoff experience, all that stuff matters. And so when we're talking about, deep in the playoffs, these guys are going to play. So LMA, he can give you 10 to 15 minutes off the bench. Can play the 4 and the 5, can hit that mid-range jump shot that he's, obviously hitting so many times over his career. So he can still give you that. Is this a very impactful signing? I wouldn't say too impactful, but I do think LMA, again, can play that David West role that was played by David West on the Warriors a few years ago, if you guys remember that, right? Come in, 10 to 15 minutes, hit a few jumpers, give some solid offense, maybe rebound the basketball, and so things like that. Blake Griffin, on the other hand, who the Nets added a couple weeks ago, Blake Griffin obviously is not the same player he was with the Clippers, but he's not as washed, I believe, as Aldridge. Blake Griffin can still give you some quality minutes, and we've seen flashes of it now. Okay, so I think Blake Griffin's a much better addition than Aldridge is. Okay, and I get it for Lamarcus Aldridge. At this point, he's just trying to get a ring, so he is quote-unquote ring chasing. Okay, let's flip on over to the Lakers, who signed Andre Drummond, the other big buyout free agent candidate. Okay, Andre Drummond is going to be more impactful for the Lakers because they actually need Drummond. The Nets don't need Lamarcus Aldridge. They can compete for a championship with or without him. All right, Andre Drummond, again, the Lakers don't need him per se, but he does help. Okay, rebounding wise, I know people want to say Andre Drummond puts up empty numbers, but folks, 15, 14 rebounds a game, that's a lot. And Andre Drummond can clean the glass like very few can. So he is going to give them a much needed presence on the glass. We know AD doesn't like to play the 5, so Drummond's going to play the 5. And we know that the inside scoring potentially is going to be there. But all Andre Drummond's going to be asked to do is catch lobs and rebound the basketball and play defense. The first two, he should be able to do with no problems. Defense, that's going to be a big problem. Andre Drummond is a awful defender. All right, so he needs to work on that. But I do see him being impactful because, again, they don't really have anybody on the team that does what he does. Montrezl Harrell is an offensive-minded center. He does not rebound the basketball like Andre Drummond. He's not an inside presence like Drummond is. So, to me, I like the Drummond signing for the Lakers. I do think they needed him. LMA to the Nets doesn't really do much for me. Now, as far as an overall perspective, right, how do the Nets and the Lakers both stack up when compared to each other? I would certainly say that the Nets should be the favorites. All right, look, you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis cool on one side, I get it. But if you compare that to the Brooklyn Nets, you have 3 guys that obviously are all-stars and can legitimately create their own basket and score at will. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden. All right, so to me, again, it's just a numbers game, right? I got 3 all-stars versus 2. Which team is deeper? Well, now the Nets are deeper, right? We're talking about a team now that consists of, outside of the big 3, you've got quality shooters like Joe Harris. Jeff Green's decent. DeAndre Jordan's still there. We just added Lamarcus Aldridge. I mentioned guys like Nicholas Claxton, who are nice young players. So the Nets are deep too. And now with the Lakers, again, behind LeBron, AD, with the addition of Drummond, Schroeder's there, Kuzma, Talent Horton Tucker, THT, KCP, right? Guys like that. But again, they're not super deep. They don't have a third guy. So to me, I still think the Nets are the title favorites. I think the Nets, right now, if you ask me, are the team that will win the championship. But I will never, ever, ever count out a LeBron James-led team. And so the Lakers have a chance as long as LeBron James is LeBron James. But the Nets are the favorite as of this point. So let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below if you agree or disagree. As always, thanks for watching.